One day, a cat showed up at a Buddhist temple, and the abbot was surprised to see it. He realized the cat didn't have a home, so he welcomed it. Soon, the cat started coming to the temple every day, almost like it wanted to become a Buddha. What happened next was unbelievable. The number of people visiting the temple quickly doubled or even tripled, and the abbot was amazed. He knew that at first, people came to see the cat, but once they felt the peace and calm of the temple, they left feeling more relaxed. It was incredible how much the cat had changed things at the temple, and the abbot felt grateful every day for the moment he first met the cat that would become a Buddha. He remembered it well. A rustling in the grass had caught his attention. When he turned around, he saw a beautiful cat jumping through the grass, chasing a bug. He didn't remember seeing the cat before and had no idea where it came from, especially in the mountains where the temple was located. Curious, the abbot wondered how friendly the cat might be, so he bent down and held out his hand. Right away, the little cat ran over, rubbing against him and purring. The abbot laughed, realizing the cat wasn't shy at all. As he headed back to his room, the cat followed. "You can't come home with me," he said with a chuckle, thinking someone must be missing the cat. Not wanting to encourage it, he closed the door and forgot about it for the rest of the day. But the cat was determined. It didn't have a home, but it was about to find a new community to be part of. The next day, after the abbot finished meditating, he noticed the cat playing in the temple courtyard again. Had it stayed outside all night? He called the cat over, and it walked up to the temple steps, stopping as if unsure whether it was allowed inside. The abbot invited the cat in, and the monks watched as the little feline happily curled up on a cushion. The abbot had never seen anything like it, and judging by the surprised faces of the monks, neither had they. The cat stayed at the temple for the rest of the day, watching the monks go about their daily tasks and happily wandering around the courtyard. It seemed content just being near people. When the monks meditated, the cat would quietly lie on a mat with its eyes closed, as if copying them. The abbot wasn't sure at first if having a cat at the temple would be a problem. However, the next day, he found the cat crying outside, and that settled his decision. The cat had no home, so it would become the temple cat. It was wandering around the courtyard, mewing sadly, and the abbot felt bad for it. He couldn't figure out why the cat was upset, but he thought it must be lonely. He couldn't turn the cat away for that, so he picked it up, gently stroked its ears, and decided that as long as the cat wanted, it could live at the temple, and the abbot would take good care of it. The abbot named the cat Hadel, and quickly set about teaching it all about life at the temple. It was a peaceful existence, but a tough one too. The temple didn't seem to attract many visitors these days, and no visitors meant no donations. Any work that needed doing around the temple, the monks did themselves. The abbot often wondered what had turned people away from the temple. He wasn't even bothered about people visiting for religious reasons, but the tranquility of the temple was unmatched, and he knew that if people would just return, they would find a sense of peace in their lives. He had also noticed a change in the cat since its arrival. Hadel would spend his days observing the monks, and soon, he could regularly be found sitting at the Buddha statue in the main hall of the temple. While the monks meditated, the cat would sit peacefully with his paws outstretched, focused on the statue as though he were in his own state of meditation. When they weren't meditating, the monks would shower Hadel with love and affection, giving him belly rubs and ear tickles. The cat had never been happier, and Jigo was pleased to see that everyone had accepted the cat into their little community. Without even trying to change his behavior, the cat now arrived at the temple each day of his own free will, as though he too wanted to become a Buddha. Jiho still had a concern though. Cats were hunters and predators, and although he hadn't witnessed Hadel harming another animal yet, he knew it was only a matter of time before the cat caught a mouse or something similar, and his natural instincts would take over. The abbot was torn. On one hand, the monks were peaceful vegetarians, but on the other, he couldn't stop a cat from doing what came naturally, and it wouldn't be fair to suppress those instincts. However, Jiva got a huge surprise when Hadel caught his first mouse. The little cat was running around in the grass, as he often did to expend energy. When the abbot noticed a change in his behavior, Hadel was crouched down low, his eyes fixed on something. Before Gio could react, the cat leaped forward and landed on his prey. The abbot winced. This went against everything the monks stood for, but if the cat was going to live at the temple, it was something he would have to get used to. However, when Gio dared to look again, he was shocked to see that Hadel wasn't hurting the mouse or tormenting it as he had expected. The cat was simply sitting with his paw lightly resting on the mouse. The abbot rushed over and rescued the mouse from under Hadel's paw before carrying it away and setting it free, well out of the cat's reach. He was sure it was a one-off, but he still praised the cat for his good behavior. A few days later, the same thing happened. Hadel caught a mouse and patiently waited for Jigo to come and deal with it. The abbot was shocked. Had the cat really changed his behavior to align with the monk's beliefs? He found it hard to believe, but it really seemed that way. Soon though, the monks wouldn't be the only ones amazed by the gentle cat. After his morning meditation, Jiho made his way around the temple grounds when he heard voices. Hadel was following closely behind, walking towards the courtyard. Jiho was surprised to see a small group of people gathered around, chatting. The abbot greeted them and quickly discovered the reason for their visit. When they saw Hadel, they immediately started fussing over him. Somehow, word had spread that the temple now had a cat that was becoming a Buddha. Curiosity had gotten the better of the villagers, and they needed to see it for themselves. Even though they had only come to see the cat, Jiho was more than happy to let them look around and spend time with the happy little feline. The visitors marveled as Hadel became their tour guide, leading them around the temple. They couldn't believe it when the cat placed himself on a mat in front of the Buddha statue and appeared to meditate. At the end of the day, Jiho was shocked to see the donation pot filled with a nice amount of money, but this was just the beginning. A few days later, an even larger crowd gathered in the temple courtyard. Jiho welcomed them all and watched as they took photos of the cat. But the biggest surprise was how they would come to the temple full of tense energy and leave with a calm aura, just as he had hoped. This feeling, along with the cat's growing popularity, meant that before long, Jiho was recognizing the faces of regular visitors seeking peace, guidance, and, of course, cuddles with Hadel. The monks couldn't believe what was happening. The cat was becoming a local celebrity. As more people shared the story of the meditating cat, tourists began making their way to the temple just to say they had seen the Buddha cat. Each day, the donation pot overflowed, and Jiho was just as surprised every time he saw it. The donations allowed much-needed repairs to be made at the temple, but the abbot began thinking of ways he and Hadel could repay the villagers who now came to the temple at least once a week. If it hadn't been for them, Hadel's story would have stayed within the temple walls, and the monks wouldn't have been able to rejoin the community, offering counsel and guidance once again. The little cat had been like a breath of fresh air for the temple. For weeks, the abbot meditated and sought advice from the monks on ways they could further help the villagers and repay their kindness. But with so many visitors flocking to the temple to see the famous cat, staying to enjoy the quiet surroundings, or seeking words of wisdom from the monks, it was hard to find a quiet moment to think of ideas. One evening, as Jiho returned from a Dharma talk, he looked at Hadel obediently walking by his side and was suddenly struck with inspiration. The cat had become a beacon of hope for visitors to the temple, and he brought good fortune to the monks. But what if the cat could lead visitors in meditative sessions that would help spread the Buddhist teachings they so strongly believed in? The abbot shared his idea with the monks, and at first, some were reluctant. It had been many years since they had so many visitors, and some of the older monks had personally witnessed the decline in interest. Where people had once turned to the monks for healing, teaching, and support, numbers had slowly dwindled as the world changed and people's lives became busier. Having a celebrity cat at the temple seemed unbelievable, and Jiho wasn't sure it would be enough to bring the monks and villagers together again. Confident in his plan, he invited villagers to meditate with Hadel. To his surprise, the courtyard was full the next day. Visitors followed the cat's lead in meditation, and many stayed to interact with the monks or enjoy the temple grounds. The cat had saved the temple, reminding everyone of peace, love, and acceptance. People who came for the cat left changed, with the temple and community thriving once again. Jiho reflected on how Hadel had transformed from a stray into a source of happiness for all, and how the temple was now alive with new energy. What do you think for this story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.